It is opening night for high school football in the South Bay area. Good evening, everybody. Along with Rashawn Haylock, I'm Lou Stowers. On the Game of the Week on Channel 22 Sports, it will be the Lawndale Cardinals hosting the Hawthorne Cougars. And Rashawn, I guess the big story of the night will be if the Hawthorne Cougars can break that big goose egg they've been carrying them around for 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. That big goose egg. It's now 0-32. Their last 32 games on the field, and they did pick up one win as a forfeit against Compton a couple years
But that
back.
doesn't
But
really count.
it doesn't really count because in that game, Compton blanked. Not only they beat them, they shut them out. I believe the score was 56-0 the final in that one. But Hawthorne has lost their last 32 games on the field, and you just want to pick up a win if you're the Cougars. Haven't won, as you mentioned, since 2005, October 28th, 2005, last time this team has picked up a victory.
And on the other side of the ball, the Lawndale Cardinals are just trying to keep working the system of Coach Mark Flores, and it seems to be working, but boy, it seemed to be a thin roster this year.
Yeah, it's Coach Mark Gomez in his third year at the helm here at Lawndale. He's been here since 03-04, but this is his third season as a head coach. And usually in your third season on top of a program is when you start to see, things come alive for your program. And definitely Coach Gomez is expecting the same here this year. Most of these seniors on this team were sophomores when he took over. Not only were they sophomores, but they were sophomores playing varsity football. So they have a lot of experience, and Coach Gomez is going to be counting on that the rest of the season. He says this should be the best year.
All right, Crawford Wilkerson, one of the people getting ready to return the kickoff right now. Back there is Damian Bell, and the ball is kicked out of the end zone, and we get things underway here at Lawndale High School. 1st and 10 for the Cardinals at their own 20-yard line.
What a kick, huh? A booming kick into the back of the end zone. Way to get things started here. And now we'll see that this Lawndale attack, we were talking to Coach Gomez before the game, Lou. We always see that double wing when we come, but he said a little surprise. May start out in the shotgun tonight, so we'll be looking for that.
A lot of shotgun tonight. Is splitting out wide to the near side is Marcus Wellington. It will be Jamal Fleming and Crawford Wilkerson will be the T's on the wing. There will be the wings, and there you see number 5, Aaron Belton, the starting quarterback, a very veteran team, as the ball gets handed off right away to Fleming out of the shotgun. And after a gain of about 4 yards, the tackle is made by Hawthorne, who had good pursuit on the first play.
And you see them in that shotgun right now, and they spread you out a little bit, does Lawndale, but Coach Gomez said they will run out of this shotgun. They intend to run out of this shotgun, so not everything has to be done under center as we've seen in previous years.
And also Marcus Mangino, Manigo, I should say, one of the captains on this Lawndale team, will be the tight end, and we will go over who this veteran defensive line is. Out of the shotgun again, one back, and now a man in motion. The ball is handed off to Fleming. Fleming gets out of one tackle, gets a nice block, up to midfield, and still on his feet, up to the 50-yard line, finally brought down on the play by Hawthorne. And we'll give that tackle to Roy Lewis.
Yeah, big run that time by Fleming. They put him in motion. They just brought the wing around just like they did on the first play. They just brought it back the opposite side. And Fleming getting out in the open field, showing some nice moves. But how about the tackling by Hawthorne? Got to do a better job at that. You've been hitting each other all camp. You should want to be excited about getting out there to be able to hit somebody else.
And that was a 27-yard gain by Fleming. And good blocking up front by the Cardinals. Out of the double wing, and the ball is handed off this time to Wilkerson. And there's the Cougar defense coming in and attacking.
Yeah, big tackle put on by number 50, Adrian Lopez, 6'1", 230. Senior getting in the backfield that time. So Fleming getting the first 2 carries. Now you see Crawford Wilkerson getting the third carry of the ball game for Lawndale.
So it's -5 on the play. It will be 2nd down and 15 for the Cardinals. It's Belton, a 6'2 senior, is now under center, and he'll hand the ball straight off. And a big gain big hole and a nice dive for more yardage is Dante Batiste, a senior running back. And it stretches out for a big first down after it was 2nd down and 15.
You take a look at Coach Gomez down there right now. His 3rd season in the program as the head coach of the program, but not calling the plays offensively. Those duties go to Matt Turner, his offensive coordinator, also coaches both the O-line and the D-line, and Coach Turner making that call now. So you see the flexibility that they now have, even more of it now with this new look offensively.
And two wide receivers split in the shotgun. 2 backs blocking, and now keeping the ball is Belton, and Belton goes right up the middle, has one man to beat, into the end zone. Touchdown, Lawndale.
And what a run. What a run that time by Aaron Belton. He faked the handoff and was able to get right through and was able to put his shoulder down right over Roy Lewis of Hawthorne trying to tackle him. Ran right over him and threw him and easily scampers into the end zone. There is a flag on the play, however, so we'll see what that is. As you take a look at the replay right here, the quarterback doing an excellent job. You know, this is his 2nd year as a starter, and Coach Gomez expecting big things from his quarterback. May even see him throw the ball a little bit more, but uses his legs to get in the end zone here.
And it is against Lawndale. Coach Flores going out to see what the infraction was, but the touchdown stays at 6-0. And it appears that Lawndale's going to go for 2. So a nice opening drive. Actually, no, they're going to go for the extra point. And it was going to be Alex Alvarado. And the kick is short and blocked and covered up by Hawthorne. So with 12:26 left to go in the first quarter, it is 6-0, Lawndale over Hawthorne.
And that was all bad from the beginning. The snap was high. They tried to get it down, but nice pressure right up the middle in the face of Alvarado that time. And that kick went right into that wall of the Hawthorne front. We'll see. That could be huge. We've seen how extra points can come back to bite you in the end. Just asked Lakewood last week in their big loss at Crenshaw, losing that one by 1 point. We've already seen it so far this season. We'll see if this one comes back to haunt these Cardinals.
So a 6-play drive, 80 yards in about 2.5 minutes. And that results into a 35-yard touchdown run by Aaron Belton. And now it'll be Hawthorne's turn as Alex Alvarado is going to tee it up. And it's actually teeing it up from the Hawthorne 45-yard line. So that doesn't look like the penalty was against Lawndale.
Yeah, it looks like that penalty was against Hawthorne. They're assessed it on the kickoff. So should be poor field position for Hawthorne to start this one.
Alvarado kicks it high and caught by Hawthorne in the end zone, caught by Wayne Pitts, who will be one of the starting running backs once the offense comes on, led by Neil Campos. Richard White and Wayne Pitts will be the featured running backs. At wide receiver, Devontae Sims and Jermaine Harris. So Neil Campos, the senior leader on this Cougar team.
Yeah, Campos brings out his troops going up against a new look for Lawndale. They're switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defensively, more or less because of personnel. Not too many big bodies, but a lot of sleeker skill athletes. So Coach Gomez is going to try to use his athleticism here defensively this 09 campaign.
And a reverse right off the bat, trying to go around end is Jermaine Harris, the wide receiver. And a good gain on the first play. And a little bit of trickery shown by Coach Swain.
A little bit. And usually what you see a lot of offensive coordinators like to do, whether it's at this level, the college level, NFL on Sundays, they like to set plays like that up by just bringing the guy around and faking the handoff on the end around. But you see Hawthorne go right to it, the very first play of the game.
So it'll be 2nd down and 7. Just 2nd down and about 7 yards to go on the 3-yard gain. Out of the eye are the Cougars. Back to pass is Campos, throwing to the near sideline to Harris. Hooks up for a first down catch, and the ball is loose. And nope, now the back judge is calling it down.
And I'm not sure if he got that right. It did come out late.
It did.
But I don't think that he was down yet. I think Harris was still in the process of being tackled. He was still on his way down when that ball was ripped out. But nonetheless, they say Hawthorne football, no challenges, of course. Aren't we glad about that?
So at the 35-yard line. So a gain of 12 yards and the first pass completion of the game. Harris goes in motion, and White gets the handoff. Check that, that's Wayne Pitts getting the handoff, and good defense shown by the Cardinals up front.
And you see Crawford Wilkerson, Dante Batiste in there, as well as Jared Ramsey. And that's something that Coach Gomez wanted to see out of this new 3-4 alignment. Gang tackling, guys flying all over the place and getting to the ball. We saw that there. Coach Gomez calling the plays defensively now. Not often you see a guy go from the offensive coordinator to a defensive coordinator, but Coach Gomez definitely has a handle on this program and really wants to emphasize the defense this year.
Jorge Noguera now one of the halfbacks as Campos is hit as he throws, and nobody's in the neighborhood, and getting in is Nick Villana.
And you see Nick that time right in the face of Noel Campos. Came right through the middle, untouched. Not sure who Campos was throwing it to that time. As you take a look at the pressure right here on the replay, right up the middle. You see the big number 22, Villafana. And Campos absolutely had no chance.
Well, it's just going to be, it is a beautiful sunset here tonight at Lawndale High School.
You see the pink sky, Lou, you know it's football season, huh?
That's
You
it.
get out here.
It's Hurricane Linda providing the cloud cover. Campos off the sideline, but a little bit too high and incomplete as the pass was intended for Dorian Womack.
And you see Jamal Fleming that time applying the pressure for Lawndale. Fleming going both ways for Coach Gomez, playing both sides of the ball, and you see the pressure, and that's something that Coach Gomez talked about. He said, you know, expect us to blitz a little bit more. We'll see how it works out. We're so far on this first possession, these last two plays, it definitely resulted into incompletions by Hawthorne.
That's right, turning into that 3-4 blitzing zone defense.
And you see it's all over the NFL now, and so many teams are running the 3-4. And football, just like basketball, just like anything else, it's a copycat sport, copycat league. And coaches see, you know, other coaches having success doing something, they go to it too. Just look at the spread offense. Everybody's running the spread offense these days.
Chris Bailey and Wayne Pitts waiting for the kick, waiting for the punch, and they're just going to let that one go as it's inside the 30-yard line at about the 28-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Cardinals right there on a decent kick from a questionable snap as Campos, or check that, Belton will lead out the Cardinal offense. So 10 minutes and 1 second left to go.
Aaron Belton capped off that last drive with a touchdown run. See what the Cardinals can do here. Not favorable field position, but you see how effective this offense can be. Belton under center.
In the double wing formation, quick snap and a screen pass to the wide receiver, and it results in about a 15-yard gain.
There's Desmond Hall right there on the little quick hitter on the outside. Last year, we saw Markeith Cunges catching a lot of these balls. Had a chance to catch up with his mom before the game. Markeith doing just fine out at Northern Oklahoma, playing out there, but
and he's starting.
And he's starting as well, yeah. But you look at the play right here, and then you see Desmond Hall taking that and able to use his speed. And that's exactly what you want to do if you're Lawndale.
So another first down for the Cardinals. And it's good to see Mama Wilkerson still supporting the program here. And nice run by Dante Batiste And he gets right to the 50-yard line for a big gain and another big first down for Lawndale. And they are really chewing up big pieces of real estate, Rashawn.
And they are. You see the triple threat, so to speak. There's always been a three-headed monster at tailback here for Lawndale ever since Coach Gomez got here. And this season, it figures to be no different with Fleming, Wilkerson, and you see Batiste, and you even see Aaron Belton getting in the mix at quarterback, running the ball effectively. So just like that, they're already at midfield.
So Dante's a senior, 5'10", 160. Wasn't one of the starters, but boy, he's really made his mark as Jamal Fleming gets a good head of steam, and Jamal gets a first down and more as he bulls his way through, still on his feet, finally caught from behind and gets down near the 20-yard line.
And how about that run there by Jamal Fleming, huh? We talked about the tackling efforts of Hawthorne during that first drive. This time, Fleming puts his shoulder into a couple of Hawthorne Cougars. And the only reason he was able to get that done, Lou, not just because he put his shoulder down, but because he kept his legs moving. And therefore was unable to be taken down. Just kept churning, picking up those extra yards.
Down to the 25-yard line. We'll call it the 25. It's a bad angle here, so where is that, Rashawn? Right at about the 20.
Call it about the 23-yard line
23,
officially.
okay. Yeah, you just look at the scoreboard and they'll tell you, right?
Little trap play.
Fleming heading for the first down marker again, getting good yardage, getting beyond the 15-yard line.
There's another first down for Lawndale. You see it was Crawford Wilkerson that time. So you see Fleming, Wilkerson getting the carry this time. They went with a little trap play. They had some motion coming near side, and they just gave it to Wilkerson through the trap, and he was able to get out there, get some room, and pick up a first down for Lawndale.
Well, they're calling it second and short. So we'll call it at the 14-yard line, even though they're says the ball is marked at the 11. It's at the 14, they call it now. Second and short, the ball is handed off straight up the middle. And will it be good enough for a first down?
Should be. And that was Dante Batiste one more time. And then those were the carries primarily that Carlton Callaway was getting a season ago. Those carries right there up the gut. And remember Carlton picking up those nice, tough yards for Coach Gomez these last couple of seasons.
So now it's 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line, and every time Dante has touched the ball for the Cardinals, he's gotten a first down. 3 carries and 3 first downs.
You like that.
Desmond Hall is split wide to the left to the near side. Under center is Belton. The ball is handed off, and it will be a touchdown for the Cardinals and Jamal Fleming. And it's 12-0 Lawndale.
That's that little fly play once again. You see Jamal Fleming coming off the edge, coming near side, taking it right into the end zone, untouched that time. And you love this running game by Lawndale. We talked about the flexibility, the versatility they're able to bring with it now, being out of the shotgun. And USC fans remember this all too well last year against Oregon State. Quiz coming off the end. Well, here's Fleming coming off the end and into the end zone in a little fly play. And interesting enough, after the block field goal or the block extra point last time, not going to go for 2 here.
They're just trying to get their kicking game down, maybe. Just practice that in some real game situations. As Alvarado up and through, but there's a flag on the play.
I'm not sure if there was encroachment there, but once you cross that zone, you can't get back in high school football. So they're going to have to do it again.
So the kick was good, and they'll come back and do it again, it looks like. So 7:49 left to go in the first quarter.
That was a nice strong kick by the kicker Alvarado that time. Better snap equals a better kick. Unfortunately for him, that one didn't count. Let's see what they can do this time as the ball gets moved up. What is it, a yard and a half maybe?
Maybe.
I'm sure he's going to need that.
About a half a yard. Actually, that can be a detriment rather than a help. Snap back, ball down, and the kick is good. So with 7:49 left to go in the first quarter, it's the Cardinals 13 and the Cougars nothing.
And remember last year these two teams played beginning of the season. and it was pretty highly contested, and especially during that first half. Of course, Lawndale went on to run away with it towards the end of the game, but Hawthorne came out, played very spirited, but so far here in '09, Lawndale just taking it right to him.
So Jamal Fleming with the 11-yard touchdown run completes a 7-play, 76-yard drive that started at 10:01. So just about 2 minutes and 10 seconds on the drive. So it'll be Lawndale kicking the ball. It'll be Alvarado, Alex Alvarado, the 5'8", 150-pound senior, and getting ready to receive the ball for the Cougars. It'll be number 4, Jermaine Harris on the near side, and number 24, Wayne Pitts, the 2 starting running backs. It will be on the far side. Here comes Alvarado's kick. Line drive down the middle, and it'll be picked up by Harris. Harris gets some good running room, now goes to the far side, has one man to beat, who catches up with him at the 45-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 10. It was Alex Alvarado, the kicker, making the tackle. Good field position for Hawthorne's Cougars as they get their second offensive set with 7:41 left to go in the first quarter.
And Harris.
And first of all, before you open that mouth of yours, want to welcome in for year number 22, Rufus Washington and his new spectacles. How are you, buddy?
Lou, I'm doing great. It's great to be here, and let's thank Rashawn for filling in for me for a moment. There's a crowd out there waiting to get in here. Not quite the Hawthorne losing a rivalry, but one that's growing. And trust me, the crowd's outside, and in a few minutes, you're going to see this place full.
Out of the shotgun and keeping the ball up the middle and getting a first down, close to first down, is Neil Campos on the fake handoff and the quarterback draw. Looks like he got enough inside of Cardinal territory. 11 yards and a first down.
Cougars moving the ball, Lou. This has to be a breakthrough year for them. I think I'm sure you've already talked about in terms of their record over the last 3 years, but they do have some returning players, of whom Campos is the leader of that returning group. And this might be the year that they get off the schneid and get in the winning column.
They have 18 seniors coming back, Rufus, and Coach Swain is excited about this team as Wayne Pitts bangs his way across the 40-yard line to the 39 for a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, but some of those seniors are true freshmen in experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah. I mean, it's the difference between having 18 seniors and 18 experienced players. But, no, this is good for the Hawthorne Cougar team.
So after 4 and out by Hawthorne, they've come back to rip off a couple of one first down after good field position, as Campos will keep it again and get close to the 35-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and just over a yard to go.
Well, so goes Campos, so go the Cougars this year. One of the things, and it's early in, is that for their fortunes to turn, he's got to stay healthy all year, because he's a centerpiece of their offense. Now, what they've got to do is get Harris more involved. I mean, you saw the early kickoff return where he brought it out over the 40, and I would like to think that he's going to be an integral part of what they do as well.
You see Victor Martin anchoring this line at center for Hawthorne. It'll be 3rd down at a yard. Stacked up on the line, and Campos will keep it on a draw and not only get the first down, but 6 yards on the play. So across the 35-yard line, across the 30, down to the 29. So another first down on this drive on the 6-yard gain by Noel Campos.
Good, impressive drive again by the Cougars. As we say, the name of the game, of course, is to keep it moving, see if they can get some points on the board on this possession. Good-looking drive so far, though.
So they gave him 2 more yards, so that was an 8-yard gain by Campos. Out of the wing formation, Campos rolls out, going to throw for the end zone, deep, and for Harris, it is caught in the back of the end zone, and no. says the back
Wow.
judge, Fred Gravett, and he must have run out of the end zone. As we're looking at this, and nice throw on the rollout by Campos, but the call was out of bounds. Is Jermaine Harris.
There was also a flag on the play, Lou, and they're marking off 15 yards against the Cardinal. Looks this is going to be a personal foul, roughing the passer. So even though they don't get what appeared to be a touchdown to us, they do get great yardage because they pick up 15 on the personal foul, takes them now inside the 20, looks like inside the 15-yard line.
It's all the way down to the 12-yard line. Officially out of the eye. Campos wants to go, and look out from behind. Is that a legal tackle?
No, that was a horse collar tackle. You know, I was just going over the Federation rule book seriously a couple of days ago, and that's the #1 new rule. Of course, it's been in for this is the second season, but this year they were like emphasizing it, and I'm not sure what else you have to do for it to be called a horse collar tackle.
Well, that was Tarek Lewis, who was being looked at by a few four-year schools. And on the play, a loss of 2. So back to the 14-yard line. And Wayne Pitts is caught from behind, and a good tackle by Marcus Manigo. And a gain of 2 yards, so back to the original line of scrimmage is Pitts. So the defense for the Cardinals starting to toughen up inside the 20, albeit maybe not too legal.
And this is where, again, coming off of last year, where it was tough, the toughest for the Cougars. We saw Tuiala Aka run beautifully between the 10s, okay, from 10 to 10, but they couldn't score inside the red zone.
Man in motion is Harris. Campos hands the ball off, is hit by Lewis in the backfield and barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. So it'll be 4th down and long for Hawthorne with 3:30 and running left to go in the first quarter.
I think, Lou, and this is my first look, of course it's everybody's first look in terms of regular season action, because it is opening night here in the South Bay between this Bay League, Ocean League and Pioneer League team. But for my money and what I saw on the first play, I think you got to get the ball in Harris's hands a little more often. To me, he hasn't touched it enough, and now they're going to go for a field goal.
And Campos will hold the ball. Snap is high. The kick is blocked by the Cardinals and picked up, recovered by the Cardinals. They'll get a little bit better field position. Jonathan Ramirez is the kicker for Hawthorne, and limping off the field is Jarrett Ramsey for Lawndale. But the blocked field goal attempt gives Lawndale a little bit better field position with 2:50 left to go in the first quarter.
It does a good-looking drive for the Cougars. It stalled, though, at about their 12-yard line, as you say, before they took the loss. Here's the problem again. I just mentioned it, a carryover from last season, moving the ball between the 20s and not being able to score once they get in the red zone.
So the ball is marked back at the line of scrimmage at the 12-yard line, though. And under center is Aaron Belton. Belton throws it up and caught by Marcus Wellington, and he drops the ball.
He fumbles it, but
he recovers the ball, and now we're going to get a personal foul on Desmond Hall falling onto Lewis. Or check that
might be Ramirez.
Dominic flag.
Oh, okay. We've got different numbers in there.
I'm sorry. Nope, you're right.
Looks like it was number 10.
Wellington? Is that Desmond Hall?
No. Well, you're looking at the Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
Right, but it's going to be against the Cougars.
Okay. And number 10, we don't have a number 10.
Okay, and on this roster, I will say to you, and just like every year, we start at the same place on the roster information. The information I have, Lou, says that number 10 is Jonathan Ramirez.
Okay.
And the lineup that the Cardinals were gracious enough to provide us in the program shows 10 as Jonathan Ramirez. And you're right, he piled on a defenseless player who was already down. And of course, here's what we know. Now, unlike in the pros in the NFL, where he wasn't necessarily down by contact, he could have got up and run. Well, everybody knows that in high school and in college, if a guy's down on the ground, he's down, plays dead.
And now the ball is handed off and into the end zone. Touchdown for the Cardinals. And that was
Crawford Wilkerson. Yeah, that's right. Crawford picking up where he left off last year. Of course, you know, he was a part of that triumvirate that included Carlton Callaway. Wilkerson last year, Lou, with 56 carries for 380 yards. Fleming, who you've already talked about, had 99 for 596. And, of course, the workhorse in that backfield last year was Carlton Callaway, and Callaway carried for almost 900 yards, over 900, 108 carries for 956. So it's not bad when you get 2/3 of your wishbone back. You ain't got much wishing to do.
That's
you
right.
got that much of it.
And the kick is up.
No, they go for the 2-point conversion, guy, while we're doing that, and they get it.
How about that? So they get it back. So now it's 21-0. Hawthorne over. Check that. It's Lawndale over Hawthorne.
I'm sure the Hawthorne fans would love. I mean, it's not nice to play tricks like that.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I am sorry.
Wow, so you're 9 minutes and 26 seconds into your season and already down 21-0. There's no place to go but up. And right now, though, I think these guys, and we know this about Coach Swain's team, is that they've got a lot of gumption, a lot of fight in them, and I think they're going to make a game out of it before the night's over.
So a 78-yard drive in 3 plays by the Cardinals after the blocked field goal attempt. Well, again, yeah, the Cougars did move the ball after some good field position, but they just can't get down on themselves here. Even though we're still in the first quarter, 2 minutes and 34 seconds left. And Alvarado kick is short. And the ball is picked up by Hawthorne. And it'll be 1st and 10 at that point at about the 34-yard line.
Well, that time the Cardinal strategy definitely was to kick away from Jermaine Harris, which they did. Short kick on the play. So it gives the Cougars decent field position. Looks like they're spotting it where, at the 35?
Should be right on the nose of the 35. So decent field position again for Campos and the Cougars. Campos, straight handoff, and nicely done. And getting some big running room was Wayne Pitts up to about the 45-yard line. And should be good enough for a first down.
And you're right, because the nose of it was behind, yeah, and they're marking it as a first. They're stopping the clock. I'm not exactly sure why, because we still have 2:23 left here in the first quarter.
Now Richard White has yet to see the ball, as we got a timeout on the field with 2:23 left. As that's probably why the clock stopped. So just trying to just working on some new things. Got a little bug in my new system here, Rufus. So,
Well, we got a bug in your system. We got a bug in the monitor because we can't see a thing.
well, I think we're going to have to give last rites to the old monitor.
Time to pass the hat, huh?
Yeah, but you know what? That could be good news because then we could get into the 90s with a new monitor here.
Oh, man. You mean they're thinking about getting a flat screen LCD to put up here for us to see?
Well,
Diamond Vision is coming to our outdoor booth.
you know, that would be nice.
What will they do next? Put a roof over our head?
It's a beautiful night now. You know, we're going to have to probably go to one of the bazaars or garage sales around town to see if there's an old RCA 26-inch console, you know, kind with the record player in it.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. A nice 19-inch widescreen would be nice here, huh? But a touchdown would be nice for Hawthorne as the long throw is underneath Jamel Chappelle.
Well, it was underneath him. Wayne Pitts was in the pattern as well. Wayne Pitts, I don't think, knew exactly what route to run because he's back looking at the ball, and the ball is sailing right past him. So an offensive breakdown there. Good throw again by Campos. You know, we saw Campos last year starting to develop and to come into his own. And boy, you can just tell by the way he's playing tonight and what we've seen so far. A lot more confidence, a lot more just surety about what he's doing out there.
And now the Cougars setting things up as Victor Martin brings them out. The big center. 6'3", 335 pounds of him. Campos. Draw play right up the middle, and the Cardinals sniff it out. And that's going to be a loss on the play, Rufus.
Good defense by the Cardinals that time as they gang tackled the runner. You know, and one of the things I was about to say is that you're right. I mean, Victor Martin, big number 79, is just a load there. Great kid. Big Vic is a great guy. Justin, his brother, of Hawthorne Cougar fame a couple years ago. Just a great family, the Martins. And I'm telling you, Victor at center, and I see him playing on Saturdays pretty soon. I can tell you that.
Jermaine Harris is split out to the far side. Two receivers out there. And a double wing set. Campos on the screen pass as the ball is batted by Lewis. Campos gets it back so he can advance the ball and maybe gets back to the original line of scrimmage where it'll be a big third down play. Or check that, it'll be fourth down and long.
It's going to be fourth and long, and which means the Cougars didn't get much done on that play. Now I'm going to toss out a wild idea here.
And we have a Cardinal down, so why don't you go ahead?
You know, they've got Martin under center, right? And that may well be his natural position. But for my money, I would consider making Martin a pulling guard, okay? Putting him over on the left and running somebody in behind him. So the blocking scheme's a little bit different when you're asking your center to be your lead blocker, because actually his primary responsibility is to protect your quarterback. And I think he has additional value is what I'm trying to say if he were actually in a guard position where he could pull and provide some additional blocking for your running backs.
So Coach Mark Flores now helping up Nick Viatana. And it looks like he's hobbling off, may have had an ankle issue or something. So let's hope that Nick's ankle is okay and he can come back out, or at least come out for next week. So it'll be fourth down for the Cougars. And getting set to kick the ball away is Campos. Damian Bell and Dante Batiste back to receive the kick.
Campos needing to get a good one away here.
Kicks it high, and this one's going to go to Bell. Bell catches it on the run, is hit immediately by Devontae Sims.
Bell living a little bit dangerously on that play. Gets away with it, though, and brings it out across the 30 to about the 32-yard line, where the Cardinals get to go on offense again. We're still here in the first quarter, and they're leading by a margin of 21-0 over the visiting crosstown Hawthorne Cougars. Boy, you talk about a reversal of fortune. Man, a few years ago, the Cougars in their heyday, that score would be reversed. But they're in a rebuilding mode right now, as they have been for the last couple of years, and each year they're taking strides under Coach Swain. You wonder, though, at some point whether or not he'll be around to see when this program hits the next stride. Some grumblings in the community. Coach Swain's a great guy, nice guy. I've talked to him several times.
Yeah, he
but
sure
at the
is.
end of the day, in all of athletics, it comes down to W's and L's.
That's it, and they're working on a long losing streak, and that shell around the goose egg is getting real hard to crack. So a 5-yard penalty, too much time taken by the Cardinals. So now it's 1st and 10 for 1st and 15 from the 27, and look out, a nice big run as Jamal Fleming bangs into one man, gets to about the 45-yard line, and rips off a long first down run.
I mean, they literally are, the Cougar defenders, and again, a sign of good coaching, are doing the right things. They're going low on their tackles. They're wrapping up. But gosh, I mean, these Cardinal running backs, led by Wilkerson and Jamal Fleming, are just running through tackles.
Yeah, it makes it tough when you're big, and they have been doing that all game long. The last win by Hawthorne was back on October 28th, 2005 over Inglewood. So Fleming again with the ball. Fleming, actually, no, that is Fleming. He gets a nice block from Belton, and he's trying to get into the end zone, and is stopped there, and finally dragged down by Richard White.
Huge gain on the play. That play started at the 45. The line of scrimmage was the 45, and boy, they're going to mark it down at about the 12. So that's a 43-yard gain for the Cougars, for the Cardinals on that play. And boy, I got to tell you, Aaron Belton held that ball just about as long as you possibly could before he pitched it.
And this team is really getting their swagger early as the first quarter comes to an end. We're going to switch ends when we come back. It is 21-0 Cardinals. The first quarter is in the books here at Lawndale High School. Nothing's our score. Second quarter just about ready to get underway. We'll go to Rashawn right after this play, where it is 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line. Out of the eye, the pitch goes straight back, and going towards the end zone, muscling his way down, runs into a man, and that was number 24, Damian Bell, inside the 5-yard line. Let's go down to Rashawn.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. You know, Hawthorne is extremely optimistic heading into this season. You know, so much has been made about the 32-game losing streak, but you talk to members of that staff, they say, you know what, this is a new beginning, a new season. Everyone is 0-0 at this point. October 28th, 2005, the last time this Hawthorne team won a football game, these seniors weren't even in high school yet. Just to take it a step further, YouTube, the Nintendo Wii, the iPhone, iPod Touch, those things weren't even invented the last time the Hawthorne Cougars won a football game, guys.
Thanks, Rashawn. And it's 1st and 10, but too much time again that's the second time that the Cardinals have been called for that. It actually 1st and goal, I should say. Now it's going to be 1st and goal from about the 8-yard line, 7-yard line.
Well, this will be their extra point attempt coming up. So we'll see what happens on this play. It makes it a little more difficult as they back them up, another 5 yards.
Okay, so it's 27-0. Snap back, ball down, kick is high and through. 28-0 as the Cardinals scored on a 12-yard run by Damian Bell. And the extra point is good by Alvarado with 11:53 left to go in the first half.
So about the only thing not going the Cardinal way, and even that's not stopping this juggernaut right now, and that's their extra point setup and conversion attempts. I mean, they're making the attempts. They only missed one, but they made up for that with a 2-point conversion on a prior score. And then on this last one, they get penalized 5 yards, but he could have made if they had penalized him 15 yards.
4 plays, 68 yards. In about a minute, just over a minute, Rufus.
It hasn't taken them long so far. And, of course, last year this Cardinal team went 4-1 in pre-league play. Then, of course, they got to the Pioneer League. Going got a little bit tougher, and they went 1-4 to end up 5-5 on the season.
Ball is picked up by Jermaine Harris, and Harris finds some running room, and now he gets out of a tackle. Harris, arms, legs flying and all over the place, gets past the 40-yard line all the way up to about the 43 on a big return by Jermaine Harris.
Harris is a good-looking runner. That's what I said earlier. They got to find a way to get the ball in Harris's hands in the offense. Now, I've seen him line up as a wide out. I saw him once line up in the slot, but what I didn't see him do was get the ball to him.
So good position by Hawthorne at their own 43-yard line. 28-0. The Cardinals all over the Cougars to start off our game of the week here on Channel 22. Handoff straight up the middle to Wayne Pitts. And maybe about a yard on the play. Still trying to get that running game going. Wayne Pitts is the workhorse running back for Coach Swain. Barely gets a yard on the play. Where it'll be 2nd down and 9. Harris split just below us. One man behind Campos. And the handoff goes straight to Pitts, and same result. Cardinals and their new 3-4 defense is really stacking up the line.
Stacking up the line, the Cougar play calling not showing a whole lot of imagination right now. Basically, they're handing it off to Pitts. Pitts is gaining a half a yard at a time. It's 3rd and 9. Out of 2 carries so far, he's picked up 1 yard.
Jamil Chappelle split wide to the near side, and now we have a timeout called by Hawthorne with 10:22 left to go in the first half. So it's been all Lawndale, and where you see Mr. Pitts really doing the workload for the Cougars. It's really been spread out. Jamal Fleming doing most of the work, though, with 23 yards on 6 carries and a touchdown. But no one with more than 1 touchdown, Rufus.
Well, that's good. That means that their offense is diversified. They're moving the ball around, putting it in different people's hands, makes it harder to defend you when you've got quadruple threats like they have. I mean, let's face it. Belton at quarterback, he's a threat on his own. Jamal Fleming and Crawford Wilkerson, well, they speak for themselves as threats. And now getting the ball in the hands of Damian Bell for a score, and Tariq Lewis, we talked about him a little bit earlier, and Marcus Manigo, I should say, who's a captain this year, plays at the tight end position. So they've got some weapons.
And Coach Flores not doing the offensive calls this year, as Matt Turner is calling the offensive plays for the Cardinals, but right now they're on defense, and the shotgun snap is high, and Campos has to run for his life to get the ball just to keep it, and that one's going to go all the way back to the 29-yard line.
Or it'll make it a 4th and forever now for Cardinals. They've got to get the balls back at the 29, as you said, and they've got to get down first down is at the Cardinal 46-yard line.
So that's a 16-yard loss, Rufus. And Campos looking to punt it away. Damian Bell will be one of the Cardinals waiting to receive the kick. Campos' kick will be downed at about the 40-yard line, inside the 40-yard line, and we'll call it 1st and 10 from the 39.
So now that Cougar defense has got to show a little pride, Lou. They've got to stiffen so far here in the first 15 minutes of this game, 12 minutes in the first quarter, and here 3 in the second. They've been pushed all over this field and pushed into the end zone 4 times to make it a 28-0 game. Let's see if they can get a stop here. By my count, the Cardinals have scored on every possession.
And that they have. Split wide to the near side for the Cardinals is Marcus Wellington. And keeping the ball is Aaron Belton. And boy, there's a lot of scrumming going on down there at the bottom of the pile.
Well, give the Cougar defense a lot of credit on that one, man. That one could have very easily have fooled them, but they stayed in their positions, kept their lanes, and were able to overcome the trickeration by the Cardinal, because the Cardinal faked it off to Jamal Fleming, and it was an excellent fake. Belton kept it, but the Cougars were ready.
Desmond Hall split out to the near side, out of the shotgun, and man in motion gets the ball, and that is Fleming. Fleming is on his way. Flag goes up, but Fleming is trying to get to the end zone, has one man to beat, and is finally drugged down at about the 15-yard line. But let's see what the flag is back at the 46-yard line. It's a holding call against Lawndale.
And right now, the guys in stripes are the Cougars' best friends.
And we have neglected to let you know who they are. Richard Akers is the referee. Rodney King, yep, he is the umpire.
Rodney's here?
Rodney is here.
Nobody told me that Rodney gone in the officiating business.
Can't we all get along?
Hey.
Jim Ferricola is the line judge. Fred Gravitt is the back judge. And Brett Roberson is the field judge. So this one's going to come back. And Coach Mark Flores says, I couldn't see it. I was way over here. So that's going to end up at the 44-yard line. So still a gain of about 5 yards on the play as Aaron Belton keeps the ball and does get belted and thrown down at the 45-yard line. A big tackle by Adrian Lopez, one of the defensive captains on this team.
Again, Cougar defense looking pretty good right now. Again, they caught a break, but they've been able to force now a second and long. They show it 2nd and 2. Boy, that's a long 2 yards. Yeah, I think it's more like a short 3.
Well, they have to get to the 49-yard line of Lawndale. It's marked at the 44. So now we're looking for where the spot's going to be. 7. Now the clock is still running while all this is going on too. And no one's complaining about that.
No one's complaining. I don't think they have a running clock, a mercy rule.
Not yet, as the ball is handed off to one of the fullbacks and gets across to the 48-yard line. And carrying the ball is Crawford Wilkerson. And that's a 3-yard gain. Actually, is that a first down? It is a first down.
Well, they're signaling. The white hat, the referee, is signaling first. They haven't. Now they changed the sideline marker.
Akers says it's a first down, so guess what? It's a first down. So it's marked at the, what do they call it officially? The 48, 47?
Yep.
Okay, the screen pass, wide receiver screen is complete. Across midfield goes the receiver, Marcus Wellington. And that gets down to the Hawthorne 45-yard line.
So once again, the Cardinal attack takes them into Cougar territory. Cougar defense, though, playing with a little more resolve right now. I think that they've got their dander up a little bit.
Well, Belton is now 4 for 4 as it's 2nd down and about 4 yards to go. Wilkerson checks that Fleming in motion. Fleming gets the pitch, goes to the outside, gets the first down at the 40-yard line, and is finally brought down. And Adrian Lopez is there again to help make the stop. Victor Martin was over there too.
Cougars have got to bring a little more pressure from the ends, though, Lou. I mean, that's exactly where the Cardinals are attacking them at. I mean, they're going around the end as if though no one's there. And as you can see, the result is time after time, they're picking up positive yardage, and the last couple of plays picking up first downs.
So Fleming, after his 8th carry of the game, looks like he might have gotten his bell rung a little bit. It's going to take this play off with 5:40 left to go in the first half, and a traditional double wing set as the fullback gets the ball this time, Batiste, and a defender loses his hard hat, number 12, and on my roster I don't have a number 12.
And
How's
neither
your
do
roster?
I. So
okay. So Batiste on the play gets 1 yard, so it'll be 2nd and 9. Good play by the linebacker for Hawthorne.
boy, you'd love to see this Cougar defense get themselves a stop here before the end of the first half, something to go in the locker room to give them at least a building block. You look for it wherever you can find it, and they're looking for one right now. If they can stop this Cardinal drive, boy, that'll lift their spirits a whole lot.
Wide as a screen coming to the running back coming out of the backfield, and Damian Bell is good enough for a first down. On a 2nd down and 9 play,
Good pressure to the quarterback. Didn't get there quite enough, but again, as we talked about, Belton, again, he's another returning quarterback. We're going to see a lot of guys this year, Lou. You got Tashawn Burton over at Lusinger. You got Campos here. You got Belton. All these guys are second and third year quarterbacks, and so they've got a wealth of experience under their belt, and that's going to make a difference for their respective teams.
Handoff straight up the middle by Lawndale, and that is Batiste. And Batiste gets about 3 yards on the play, where it'll be 3rd down and 7. Right at the 25-yard line, just inside the 25-yard line.
Of course, in a couple of weeks, we'll have those Lusinger Olympians, and on October 9th, fans, mark your calendar. The Hawthorne Cougars do go across town in the Mayor's Cup game to play the Lusinger Olympians.
3:38 left to go in the first quarter. Belton on the misdirection gives it off to the man coming through, and in for the score is Crawford Wilkerson with his second touchdown of the game for Lawndale. It's 34-0.
24-yard run by Crawford Wilkerson. And again, that's what I was talking about. Boy, they were looking for a break, hoping for a break, couldn't get it. Man, you talk about demoralizing. That one, boy, could just about take the starch out of the Cougars here before we even get to the halftime break.
With 3:27 left to go, Alvarado looking to tack on the extra point out of the hold from Desmond Hall. No good, wide left. But with 3:27 left to go in the first half, it's 34-0. And Rashawn Haylock is getting ready to give us some information. Let's go down to Rashawn.
Yeah, guys, just updating you on the status of Nick Villafana. He was talking to the staff. He said someone fell on that right foot of his. They're icing it. They put a splint on it. They just carried him on the cart. He'll be driving off shortly, and his night, guys, obviously is done. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Rashawn. A 10-play drive by the Cardinals. And that was a 61-yard drive, completed by the 24-yard run by Crawford Wilkerson for his second touchdown of the day. Now here it's 34-0, Rufus, and that's only the second touchdown by one player.
That's good offensive balance. Again, being shown by the Cardinal. And now we get a chance to see Harris. You better enjoy this moment, fans, if we get a chance to see him, because it's one of the few. But we won't this time. They need to pick it up and start the return.
It's picked up by Pitts. Pitts coming to the near side, trying to pick up a block, and doesn't get exactly what he wanted, but it'll be some decent field position just beyond the 20-yard line. But it'll be 1st and 10. Some good beef up front shown by Miguel Ramirez to really put the kibosh on that run, to stuff the run blocking.
And again, now if you're the Cardinal, here's what you want to do. Obviously, you want to score. I mean, you play the game to score. But for real, if nothing else, what they want to do, again, offensively, is pick up a couple of first downs, keep the ball, and don't let the Cardinals get the ball again in the last 3:15 of the first half.
And it's 34-0. Noel Campos leading them out. Victor Martin will be over the ball. We have Jamel Chappelle split to the near side and Harris to the far side. Campos under center. And look out, he gets sacked immediately by number 11, Tarek Lewis. So the loss on the play goes all the way back to the 11-yard line, so a 9-yard loss.
Makes it a 2nd and long. Well, obviously, if you had 9 to 10, 2nd and 19, you don't have to be a math genius to figure that out. But and now you got a timeout being taken on the field. A timeout being called by the Cardinals, not the Cardinals, but rather by the Cougars.
With 2:40 left to go in the first half. And it's all Cardinals flying high this year. And Coach Swain, before the ball game, was very hopeful that they could get it done. And had a good camp. Kids showing up and really lifting the weights and getting things going. But unfortunately, the Cardinals are a few steps ahead of the Cougars at this point. And just reading some of the articles in the local papers, Rufus, just seems like the Cardinals or the Cougars take one step forward and get 2 steps back, especially trying to get. Seems like they have enough bodies coming on campus to field a team, but they just need to get that, to crack that goose egg and get a win to say, oh, this is what it's like.
Right, because now what's starting to happen, as you mentioned, except for kids who actually just live in the area and go to school there, your athletes who are making choices are choosing to go elsewhere.
Right.
Okay. And or their parents are making that choice for them. Somebody is, and that's what hurts. And the case in point is that you look at this Cardinal program, you look at the basketball program, which has had great success. They've attracted players because everybody can't play for losing their basketball team. So you got some kids who said, you know what, I'm gonna come over to Lawndale because the last couple of years they've been winning. I know they're new and make my mark there.
Campos keeps the ball, trying to get back to the original line of scrimmage, and is tackled there. And I tell you what, the Cardinal defense is really fired up, Rufus, is Larry William had the first carry there. It's 4th down, and it's trying to get 4th down and 2, as Larry William was really racked up hard by the Cardinal defense on the play before. So it's marked at the 28-yard line, so 4th down and 2.
And if you want to talk about games coming up for the Cougars, they've got North next week. 2 weeks from now, they've got Torrance. And then on the 2nd, they play Compton Centennial. And then the 9th, as I mentioned earlier, Lusinger, before they go into Ocean League play.
4th down play, and Campos is sacked. So with 52 seconds left to go, so Coach Swain trying to go for it. And this swarming Cardinal defense didn't give Noel Campos a chance to even look for a receiver.
And right now they've got to ask their defense to do what they haven't been able to do thus far tonight on one single possession, and that is, if nothing, to keep the Cardinals out of the end zone.
So a turnover on downs by Hawthorne at the Hawthorne's 25-yard line. And that's seeming like giving a bank bailout to one of the big stock brokerages. So now the Cardinals will take a timeout with 52 seconds left. And maybe they're going to try to loft one into the end zone for a score right off the bat.
I think they may, but you know what, Lou? I'll be honest with you. I had an entirely different thought, and I'll tell you. And I was thinking about Coach Gomez.
We usually do.
You know, but no, yeah, you're right about that. I think Coach Gomez. All right, and I'm just going out on a limb here, but I don't think that their effort is going to be necessarily to score. They will take what the defense gives them. I think they're going to keep the ball on the ground, just a couple of straight ahead runs. You know, he's been on the other end of this stick as well, okay? And as I say, when they've gone into league play the last couple of years, they've taken their lumps. So he has a good feeling of what it has to be like for Coach Swain and for Coach Swain's players, all right? They've got a comfortable 34-0 lead. Dare say the game is well in hand. And I think right now they'll take their winnings and go to the locker room.
And Coach Gomez is meaning what he says. He didn't even get near that offensive huddle during the timeout. Out of the shotgun is Belton. Fakes the handoff. He's going to carry it, has a man with him, and keeps the ball. And Belton is going to find the end zone. Touchdown, Lawndale. With 40 seconds left to go. And that makes it 40-0. Cardinals over Hawthorne. And what a beautiful run by Aaron Belton. And any flags on the field?
No flags on the field.
But boy, Aaron Belton just waited for the blocking to develop and just cruised on through and made a nice hit himself on the defender and ran in for a 25-yard touchdown. That's his second touchdown of the night. Alvarado in to tack on the extra points. And this one is good. So it's 41-0. And now your demoralization can kick in.
It absolutely will, Lou. And I'll tell you this. I watched that play unfold because it came right here in front of us. The tackling by the Cougars was poor. I mean, you can't fault Hawthorne. I mean, if you aren't even going to tackle the guy, the last guy just lunged to push him. If you aren't going to tackle the guy, well, it's not their fault, okay, if they go into the end zone. So, again, I'm going to stand by what I thought the goal was. He kept the ball in the hands of his quarterback. He didn't even give it to either Fleming or Crawford. They're two premier running backs. But,
actually, Bell and Batiste were out there.
Yeah. So they had their, they had their chance, and they didn't take advantage of it. Defensively, I'm speaking.
So a 35-yard and a 25-yard touchdown run for Aaron Belton. And the 6'2 senior is looking mighty tough. Harris on the near side. Pitts on the far side. The kick is going to be short, and it'll be picked up by the Cougars at about the 35-yard line. And not much more after that. Now we have a flag coming up from way back there as the ball was returned by Larry William.
Looks like they're going to call it against the Cardinal.
Is that a personal foul? So one thing that the Cardinals have to look out for now is not get too chippy out there and keep the trash talking to a minimum, because it's the first game of the season and you know those officials are going to be looking for that.
They look for it, they remember you, and you're right, next time around, and that's what they call a personal foul against. They'll indicate what the nature of the personal foul was, but it went against the Cardinal.
Cougars at their own 48-yard line trying to get something going here. Campos keeps the ball on the fake handoff on the quarterback draw and gets punished after a 2-yard gain.
But I think that 2-yard gain took them into Cardinal territory.
Hector Martin on the tackle for Lawndale.
Clock running right now at 10 seconds left here in the first half. And they spike the ball.
With 5 seconds left, trying to stop the clock to maybe go for the end zone.
Well, you may as well. But here's what you got to do: you got to throw a fade pattern to the sideline, unless you're going to throw it out. Well,
now that they're saying nope. Well, wait a minute here. Now, the referee Richard Akers says, hang on a second. And the Cardinals have already, they're already halfway to the locker room. One more play.
Gives me a chance to remind Cowboy fans of a few years ago. They tried to do that against the Redskins in a playoff game and were called back out on the field. Drew Pearson ended up taking the snap to end the game because my Redskins had thoroughly humiliated them.
Campos heaves it, and Chappelle went up for the grab, but it was knocked away by Desmond Hall, and that'll end the first half. Totally dominant by Lawndale, 41-0 over the Cougars.
Great first half for the Cardinal. I mean, what can you say? You're right. I mean, you've had multiple guys score, a couple of guys with 2 scores, Belton along with Wilkerson, but other guys have got in on the action. Cougars, on the other hand, not able to generate anything offensively. They had a couple of nice plays defensively. They've done absolutely nothing against this Cardinal offense. So they'll go to the locker room and maybe come out with a brand new plan.
And we'll be back with the third quarter action and some very unofficial. Oh, let's go down to Rashawn Haylock.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I'm here with Coach Gomez. Coach, I got to think you got to like the play for on both sides of the ball in that first half.
A little sloppy on my end on the defensive end. Offensively, we're running on all cylinders. A couple penalties, a couple of big plays. Just got to clean it up. But for the most part, yes, obviously I'm pretty pleased with the results so far in the first half.
You suffered a loss. Nick went down with that foot injury. Have you heard anything?
I heard his dislocation. The question is, how bad is it? He could be anywhere between the season's over versus he'll be back next week. It's all dependent on what the X-ray and what the MRI is going to show.
All right, hey, thanks a lot, Coach. Best wishes in the next half. That's Coach Mark Gomez. Last season, these two teams opened up the season losing, Lawndale won it 36-12. They lead this one now 41-0 at the half, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Rashawn. And halftime is underway here at Lawndale High School. And in full view of the 405 freeway, 41-0, Lawndale over Hawthorne. And Coach Mark Gomez was being true to his word, staying out of the offensive coordinator, Matt Tucker's way. And during that last timeout that the Cardinals had, he went over, got a drink, came over, said hello to some alumni, shaking hands, because now these guys have to be politicians, because they have to raise money not only for the referees but also for the buses as well.
Yeah, and they sure do, and we've talked about that before. But right now, when you're winning 41-0 in front of your home crowd, that'll get the alum and the fans to dig a little bit deeper in their pocket on this side. The folks on that side, they're pinching their pockets. They aren't about to reach in right now.
The moths are coming out of the penny purses right now.
You got that right. But let's hope for something better in the second half for our dear Cougars.
And we'll be back right after this with the third quarter and the unofficial stats on Channel 22 Sports. 41-0 is our score. Let's go over some of the unofficial numbers as rushing for the Hawthorne Cougars as they all come out to midfield. Wayne Pitts, 8 rushes for 19 yards. Jermaine Harris, 1 for 3 yards. Larry William, 1 for 2 yards. Neil Campos, 8 rushes for a net of 10 yards. And he had a sack and also a bad snap. Lost him about 16 yards. And then in passing, Campos was 1 out of 8 for 12 yards, and that was caught by Harris. 4 first downs by the Cougars in the first half. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals, they had 15 first downs, led by Jamal Fleming, 8 carries for 138 yards, Rufus, and a touchdown. Crawford Wilkinson had 5 carries for 51 yards and 2 touchdowns. Damian Bell had 1 touchdown run for 12 yards. Dante Batiste, 3 for 43 yards. Aaron Belton had 4 rushes for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was 4 for 4 in the air with 41 yards. And Desmond Hall had 2 catches for 75 yards. And it was Marquise Wellington, 1 for 17, or 1 for 7, I should say. And Damian Bell, 1 for 14. And before I forget, Jermeel Chappelle, happy birthday, big guy, for the number 1 for the Hawthorne Cougars. And let's go to Rashawn Haylock.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. I talked to Coach Swain coming out of the locker room at halftime. I said, hey, what'd you tell your guys? He said, you know what? It's all about the effort. You can't play a worse half than we played in that first half. He expects more effort from his bunch here in the second half. Also emphasized the tackling. Just poor tackling, poor effort in general by the Hawthorne Cougars. Also, Jarrett Ramsey, defensive back on the Lawndale side, wearing uniform number 7, will not play this half. He's out with a knee injury. Actually, he's on the sideline right now in street clothes, guys.
Pitts and Harris. It'll be Harris to take Alvarado's kick to start off the second half. Comes back inside and gets wrapped up and banged down to the ground on a good tackle by the kicker, Alex Alvarado. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Cougars, and they'll start off at about the 28-yard line.
Once again, Harris on the return gives them decent field position. In the course of this game, Louis had a couple of return opportunities where he's given them excellent field position. And as I called for it in the first half, I think the kid needs to get the ball in his hands more.
Now we'll see what Coach Swain had to say to the young gentleman.
Well, they ran out of the locker room with a lot of enthusiasm and breathing fire. We'll see how long that flame is right now.
Campos has his offense out of the eye, play fake, throws downfield, has the birthday boy, and it's caught by Chappelle, flag up in the air. Chappelle gets deep inside of Cardinal territory, past the 30-yard line, inside the 30-yard line to about the 29-yard line, but let's see what the flag is.
I think the flag will go against the Cardinal defense, and the Cougars will decline it. They'll take the result of the play, and it'll be 1st and 10, and this is their, well, it's not quite their deepest penetration because they did get to the 12-yard line once they're in the first quarter. So this is the second best field position that they've had in this game.
So a 47-yard hookup from Campos to Chappelle, and that's a nice happy birthday present.
There it is. You got that right, man. No matter what happens, he's got a highlight film there.
So now out of the shotgun, Campos will keep the ball. Bounces outside, getting towards the end zone, and did he get in?
Not quite, but got close. Looks like he's down at about the 2-yard line, maybe the 7.
Alvarado with a touchdown-saving tackle on Noel Campos, but it'll be 1st and goal from the 2-yard line.
And that's my fault, Lou. I'm gonna. Well, actually, you can't tell from here. We'll be able to tell in a second.
To tell.
Okay, it's at the 6. They've spotted it at the 6-yard line.
So 22-yard gain. And we have a stacked up line. The ball is handed off to Pitts, gets inside the 5, and pushes his way closer to the goal line, but not in.
Not in, but he's at the 1. He's inside the 1, judging by where the side official is positioned.
So the big play, and now we go in for the touchdown on the handoff. And it's 41 to 6.
Looks like it was number 24, Wayne Pitts, with the score, Lou.
Pitts has been the big guy, and the Cardinal fans
Well,
are booing
they're booing the fact that the shutout's gone. I mean, they don't wear that red for anything. They wanted blood tonight.
That's right. So now the faithful trying to get them all fired up again. 10:25 left to go in the third quarter, and the Cougars get on the board.
And you got to feel good for the Cougars right now, the fact that they were able to take this opening drive of the second half.
Jonathan Ramirez with the kick up and through. So with 10:25 left to go, it's 41-7. At least one goose egg is cracked.
Well, it's cracked, and you got to start somewhere, all right? And this is where you start for next week, because you're not starting for the night. I mean to take the joy out of the Cougar fans, but I do want to put a little levity or reality in there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
this is a good start for next week.
Yeah, Wayne Pitts has been carrying the load tonight. That is his 10th carry, and now he gets rewarded for a touchdown. And with 19 yards, add on 6, that's 25 yards. So none of these yards has been easy for Wayne Pitts.
But at this rate, 7 points every minute and 25 seconds, if they can keep this pace up now, this thing could have a different outcome. And while they're preparing to kick off, gives me a chance to say during the halftime break, it was wonderful to see one of the long-time, old-time Channel 60, Channel 22 people, Andrea, good googly moogly.
Long kick, high kick by Ramirez. And that is fielded by Crawford Wilkerson. And he skitters his way up to about the 20. Is that the 24-yard line or the 28-yard line?
28.
Let's go to Rashawn Haylock.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Who you won't see on this drive for Lawndale's Jamal Fleming. You know he plays both sides of the ball. We've seen him earlier tonight playing running back as well as linebacker. He tells me he has a concussion and he will not return. He's on the sideline right now. Still has his uniform on minus the shoulder pads. Shoulder pads, guys.
And the play, it goes backwards, so Hawthorne certainly is on fire as Aaron Belton gets hit hard, but Adrian Lopez is paying for it as he is on the ground for Hawthorne.
And now they bring out the medical team for the Cougars. Gives me a chance. I was mentioning Andrea, and you've got to go way back, Andrea. Of course, the lovely bride of Mr. Ali Santana, who's the cousin of Mr. Eric Chavez. I mean, I see nepotism all over the place. All right, but I'm not saying nothing. I mean, I can't even get my fourth cousin a job here. And these guys had their whole family, but I love them all. And of course, Eric, married man of a couple of months now. I hear all is going well.
Well, maybe that's why he's calmed down a little bit.
Hey.
He's not usually he's not rampaging
are
all
you
over the
saying
place.
in his house that his wife is like the Rock? Eric now knows his role and shuts his mouth?
Yeah, well, I hear he's got one of those little French maid uniforms running around the house with his feather duster.
That's our guy Eric, though, now. But Eric and Ali and Andrea, boy, what a crew and what great friends have had over the last 20 years, boy. Lots of fun.
Eric is the best. I say that because I love. And I would love to see that picture of him in the French maid uniform.
Maybe he'll make us brownies next week.
Well, if he makes house calls with the feather duster, I don't know. No, but congratulations to a lucky young man, Eric Chavez. His wife, on the other hand, she may not be so lucky. Let's get back to football here as Damian Bell makes a good block for the Cardinals. And Belton with the carry on a 3rd and long.
And yet another Cougar a little slow to get up. That was number 8, Dominique Flagg. Flagg, a senior, listed at 5'10", 180 pounds. What I want to look at, Lou, and let's look at this together and see, I guess, You can also look at the sideline and see who's in and who's not in. And I think right now the Cardinals still have essentially their starters out there on offense. Certainly Belton is still there under center at quarterback. He's number 5.
There's Damian Bell, who got the fake, and now the throw is to Dante Batiste. Now, out of the ball game right now is Jamal Fleming. Now, there was somebody out there without their jersey on. I couldn't tell. I don't see a number 2. Maybe you do.
I don't see a 2 yet. And you're right, I don't see Fleming. Now, what have we got? We've got a 4th and 4.
And that was a 10-yard gain to Dante Batiste. And now coming into the ball game is Brian Aguilar. And it looks like Alex Alvarado is going to punt the ball away with Batiste coming off. On a 4th down play, this will be their first punt of the game. So Hawthorne's defense matches the offense here.
They match the offense. And it looks like they may be able to, I think they're going to draw a delay of game here pretty soon. The Cardinal are. Okay, well,
and a lot of confusion going on as a lot of the Cardinals had their arms up in the air and a timeout is called. So it appears that we're going to take a timeout for Rashawn Haylock over on the sidelines.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. You know, Coach Gomez is not at all pleased with the way this half has started for his boys. During that last timeout, he challenged his offense and his defense, saying, "Wake up, offense, wake up, defense," and demanded no further mistakes. I can only imagine what's going on in that huddle right now after the miscommunication on special teams. Guys.
All right, thanks, Rashawn. 7:51 left to go in the third quarter. 41-7. Lawndale with a near perfect opening night so far.
Near perfect, but the shutout got away from them. So the Cougars again they already have their salve, their bomb, a little something to rub over the burn marks that they've got, but hey, they can go from here. They've got a place to go. They've had 2 good things happen. They scored, and their defense held them here at the start of the second half.
Now, am I crazy, or is this a field goal formation?
Well, it's a field goal formation.
Okay.
And I'm not exactly sure what the result will be. We'll have to ask somebody about that.
By the Cougars, and a great return just on the dead run. The ball was picked up by Devontae Sims, and he brought it all the way from about the 35-yard line in a big return.
Now we'll have to get our
23-yard
erstwhile
return.
sideline reporter, Rashawn Haylock. Now that's something Rashawn can get on and get his arms around exactly why they would set up in a field goal motion. If the only thing I can think of, because obviously we knew it was not a field goal attempt, at least a legitimate one, but I think they may have been saying, you know what, we aren't going to get many opportunities to try a field goal, so why not give it a shot here just to give our field goal kicker some practice.
And the Cardinal defense comes up big, and Crawford Wilkerson right on top of the running back, Larry William, and no gain. So leading the way, Marcus Manigo.
Because if you explore it from a rules perspective, Lou, on a punt, the ball is alive as well. So if you punt it away and they don't handle it, you've got a chance to recover it. I'm not sure that there's something in the rules where you're taking advantage of it by trying to field goal here as opposed to a punt.
Back split behind Campos, throws over the middle, and in and out of the hands. Good defense over on the far side as Chappelle was being covered by Dante Batiste, who hit Chappelle just as the ball got there.
I thought he may have got him just a little bit before the ball got there. A little surprised, to be honest with you, not to see a flag on that play.
Well, the officials are letting the teams play, that's for sure.
Well, that's because they're ready to go home just like you and me are. Yeah, I mean that's the oldest officiating trick in the book. You
Yeah.
know, because every time you call something, the clock stops.
Chappelle goes wide to the right and Harris wide to the left. Back split behind Campos and 3rd and 10 from Lawndale's 42-yard line. Back to pass, looking to the right. Now comes out of the pocket and runs through and is tackled from behind vigorously by Crawford Wilkerson. And that was after a 4 or 5 yard gain, so it'll be 4th down and long for Hawthorne.
Yeah. It looks, and you're about right. It's about a 4.5-yard gain, 4.5, maybe 5. Put it like this, I think they're going to go for it. Either way, I mean, it's out of field goal range, and a punt maybe pins them deep in their territory, but you also risk the run back.
Well, again, as long as this game is out of your hands, you might as well try some of that offense. And now it looks like Campos is under center. Out of the eye, Campos is going for the touchdown. Has a man open, and
wow.
It's Chappelle in and out of the hands.
That's 2 that Campos has laid in his receiver's hands that didn't go. Boy, what a nice catch that would have been for Jamel Chappelle.
That would have been a nice birthday present for him there, as you can see the replay. And that split the defenders coming in.
It certainly did. No, it was an excellent throw, and it landed, I mean, wow, right in his hands. And, you know, what they've done, they haven't necessarily brought it down to the high school level yet, Lou, but it's something I've advocated for years, and that is, in all fairness to quarterbacks, you know, you need to have a stat for drops by the receivers, because, you know, you may see a quarterback go 12 for 26, but he had 5 drops in the course of those 26 plays or passes.
Hall now for the Cardinals has a 1st down and then some, gets across midfield to about the 49-yard line of the Cougars, where it'll be 1st and 10 for Lawndale, who just keeps on rolling.
Well, right now, and you're right, some other guys in the program are getting an opportunity to play here for the Cardinals right now. Of course, Belton, the quarterback, still under center. Number 3, Crawford Wilkerson's out there. Boy, and Crawford's a 5'4", 160-pound running back.
I have to excuse Damian Bell is number 24, not Hall. Hall is number 10. So out of the shotgun, the ball goes to Wilkerson, cuts back inside, and a nice face arm there, stiff arm, and that's another 1st down inside the 35-yard line of the Cougars.
And the little man makes his presence felt. Crawford Wilkerson.
Another one of those jitterbug running backs that we love to see here on Channel 22.
Reminds you a lot of Mark Rogers from his days over at Lusinger. I understand now that after a brief stop up at Portland State, Mark Rogers actually playing now for the West Virginia Mountaineers. So he's playing some D1 ball over there in the Big East.
Well, good for him. He deserves a shot like that.
Well, you know, and we talked about it many a time when we saw Mark play. I always thought that he had D1 talent. I mean, to me, there was never any doubt in my mind, and so I'm glad to see him end up at a program like West Virginia.
Fullback gets the call this time for the Cardinals, and that's Brian Aguilar. And Brian, taking advantage of that big hole, goes right up the middle for a 6-yard gain. Inside the 30-yard line now to the 26. So now Matt Tucker, the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals, shuttling in and out some new personnel.
Well, Miguel Ramirez, number 77, seemed to have a little bit of a hitch in his get along. So he's immediately replaced by number 52, Ishmael Higareda.
Belton looking for somebody to throw to. Does. The ball is caught inside the 15-yard line. And Marcus Manigo with the catch. That's his first sniff on the offense today. He's the captain on the defense. And a nice catch.
Marcus, of course, been in the program the last couple of years. Name we've called often. And this is his senior campaign, so he's got this game and 9 more, and hopefully some playoff action to see before he wraps up what has been a very good career here at Lawndale.
Good enough for a first down, 12 yards on the 13-yard line, 14-yard line. And under center is the new quarterback, as now it's Bell, and Bell goes into the end zone for the touchdown. It's easy from me to you. Damian Bell with the big 14-yard touchdown, and it's 47-7.
Damian Bell scored that touchdown, and of course, given good effort was Jermaine Harris for the Cougars. Harris just missed him, and that was the man that Bell needed to make miss, and that was enough for him to get in the end zone on that play. As you say, what'd you credit that? What was that, 14, 15 yards?
14 yards.
14-yard run.
And quarterbacking the ball, handing the ball off, was Desmond Hall, who is now holding the ball for Alvarado. The ball was partially blocked, and so it is short, and it remains 47-7 in favor of Lawndale with 2:54 left to go in the third quarter. So Damian Bell with a 14-yard touchdown run makes it 47-7, and that caps off a 7-play drive. And that started out on the Lawndale 37-yard line, so a 63-yard drive. At 2:54, so exactly 3 minutes. Okay, 2:59 exactly.
Well, hey, who's counting? I mean, you shorten this force. 5 seconds of getting out of here.
You never know who's counting.
I know, boy. But
somebody's going to send me an email saying, "Hey, dummy, it was not 3 minutes; it was 2:59."
Well, I got to tell you,
Alex Rodriguez, number 27, getting ready to kick the ball off. Harris to the near side for Hawthorne. It looks like it's going to be Mr. Pitts at about the 2. Wayne Pitts coming towards us is hit and driven back. Nice tackle by the Cardinals. And let's give credit where credit's due to Aaron Fowler, who grabbed him and pushed him back. And you're right, number 77, Miguel Ramirez, is a big gimpy. But he's out there working it.
He's working it, and so the Cougars come back out with an opportunity. Again, they're down now again by 40. Has been as much as 41. But they've looked a lot better here in this third quarter. Basically, they're winning the third quarter 7-6.
And it's 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Campos has the backside of the eye. Play fake, rolls, throws, has a man open, but can't get it to him. And wide open coming across the flat was Clark Michael.
And again, another good-looking throw by Campos. So, I mean, it's going to show as an incompletion, but I thought it was a nice rollout and a nice pass to its intended receiver, as you mentioned, Clark Michael.
So it'll be 2nd down and 10. And Campos is only 2 out of 11, Rufus, but like you said, he's been real close.
Right, there have been
at
least
4
2
or 5
drops, right?
2 drops, and it's been real
drops
close.
for sure, and that one was close. I mean, that easily makes you 5 out of 11, almost 50%.
Look at big old Tarek Lewis there, and he's offside right now. I was just watching him just ready to gun the engines. He took off about a half a check too early. Number 11, Tarek Lewis, on this 3-4 defense is the outside linebacker. And he knows that was him that was offside. And that gives it 5 yards to the Cougars, so it'll be 2nd down and 5.
Makes it a bit more manageable for the Cougar effort. Again, as I said, they've looked good here in the second half. Let's see what they do with this drive.
So from the 25-yard line, Campos throws, looked like Tim Tebow. And is it picked off?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Marcus Wellington, or Wheelington. Marquise Wheelington with the interception. And now it gets turned over to the Cardinals at their own 45-yard line with 2:28 left to go in the third quarter.
And I actually thought Campos was going to tuck that one in and go for it. Elects to throw it, and that one's on him because, boy, he threw it short, and Wheelington said, "Thank you, sir."
Yeah, and Tim Tebow does those jump step throws. But I can hardly wait to see if Tebow tries to do that in the NFL.
Well, you know, there's some who even question Tebow's NFL potential.
Oh, it's there. They just got to figure out where to put him. He could even be a linebacker. So a 5-yard gain on the play by the Cardinals. Well, let's make it a 4-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
As the clock approaches 2 minutes, this quarter has moved along fairly swiftly. Nice fall, crisp evening now upon us.
It's a beautiful evening. After all the heat and humidity. Hall hands the ball off. Ball is taken by Brian Aguilar. And Brian with another 4-yard gain.
Devontae Sims in on the tackle. Sims, a 6 foot, 175-pound senior for the Cougars.
And now the ball is back into Cougar territory at the 45-yard line. 1:22 left to go in the third quarter. Cardinals in control of this one.
But apparently there was a flag on the play that got by us. Look, must have been a procedure penalty. They mark off illegal shift as the indication from the referee. That means 2 men in motion at the same time.
Yeah, I did see a little bit of action going on there with Damian Bell and Brian Aguilar. They both came from the wings towards the center of the field, and they both looked at each other and went, "Wait a minute. Whoops."
That's right.
So the officials caught it, and now it's back to the original line of scrimmage, back at their own 45-yard line. And let's see if Hawthorne comes up with it. And I believe it's still going to stay in possession of Lawndale, but it's a 2-yard loss, 3-yard loss.
Last guy to get up was Dante Batiste. So you're going to assume, looks like he was the man who recovered it for the Cardinal.
So maybe Cardinals are losing a little bit of focus right now. But Desmond Hall is running the show here right now. And just looking to see if Aaron Belton, as a timeout is called, where number 5 is for the Cardinals. Well, he's back out on the field right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, the play clock was running down, and I mean, I took the 5-yard penalty, but they elect not to and instead choose to use the timeout. And so with 13.7 left here, our score now 47-7. Cougars with the ball as we march toward what should be a great football Saturday. Got one of the Pac-10 teams making that trip down Tobacco Road tomorrow, Lou.
Oh, boy, what a wonderful place to play at the stadium there in Knoxville, Tennessee. And it is going to be quite a sight for those boys in blue when they look up and see 106,000 mad volunteer fans in their orange and white and singing Rocky Top and Old Smoky barking up the wrong trees. And, you know, that's going to be a good game, I think.
Well, you got that one, and in fact, and I'm glad you mentioned that because that wasn't the one that was on my mind. The other Pac team that's going down, you got the Stanford Cardinal going down to Winston-Salem, North Carolina to take on my own juniors, Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
That's right, in beautiful Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
That's right, because nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina.
That's right, and my lovely wife Diane and I made the trip down there over the summertime, and it was, what a beautiful campus.
And I got to tell you, this year they've got Miami and Florida State coming in, and I originally hadn't planned. First of all, I hadn't even looked at the schedule that closely. When I looked at it over this past weekend and saw they've got both of those schools coming in, I'm going to see one of them.
Well, it's don't forget to go to the Waffle House for me.
Oh, you got that, and there's nothing like that experience. And here's that field goal attempt again.
And the ball is picked up. It's a live ball. Better look out. Finally, the ball is picked up and downed by the Cougars as time runs out in the fourth quarter. We will be back for the fourth and final quarter on Game 1 of the 2009 season on Channel 22 Sports. Fourth quarter just about ready to get underway here at Lawndale High School. The Cardinals flying high with a 47-7 lead over Hawthorne. Let's go down to Rashawn Haylock.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. You know, Coach Gomez was just a little bit modest when I talked to him at the half, and he said, you know, his defense made a few mistakes, but the offense was doing just fine. At that point, Lawndale was still pitching a shutout in this ball game. But the fact of the matter is, there's no mistake about the success that he's had on the offensive side of the ball since taking over here as Lawndale's head coach 3 seasons ago. This season, he changed his sides. He's not only is he the head coach, but he's also doubles as a defensive coordinator and has installed a new 3-4 defense as opposed to the 4-3 defense that they've been accustomed to running the last few years. A 3-4 for a couple of reasons. Personnel primarily, with not as many big bodies and more sleek, skilled personnel. It has a lot of advantages for them to be able to put skilled players out there and be able to fly around to the football. Not only that, he likes the fact that his guys can fly to the football and gang tackle. So far, that new 3-4 scheme has been a hit
there you go.
tonight,
there you
guys.
Go. It was a little late coming, but they finally got it there.
Yeah, as Harris was going for the ball, Jermaine Harris on the pass by Campos. Pass interference will be the call. But again, it's an aggressive Cardinal defense. The timing was just a little bit off as the fourth quarter gets underway from the 14-yard line. Campos with the throw across the middle. And there you see the call by Richard Akers. And Hawthorne will be the recipients of 15 yards their way.
Oh. And that gets them out of the hole, let's face it, man. They were down around their 12-yard line, so that's a big play for them.
So Campos gets him back up, and look out from behind. There's some guys chasing you.
Wow.
And now the ball is loose. Hawthorne picks it up. Pitts was there. Also an offensive lineman was there, and an offensive lineman picked it up. Ramon Alvarado.
And now
But boy, what about we have a couple of
Cardinal down on the field.
one down on the field and another one grabbing his ankle.
At 17, that's grabbing his ankle, Aaron Fowler. And the Cardinal who's down, we can't get a good picture on him just yet, but as soon as we do, we'll let you know.
Well, they were getting chase. The defense was giving chase to Campos, and people were coming from the backfield and then coming in from the secondary, so it could have had a collision. So now we're having an official's timeout.
And again, as you would say, given the scrum that was over on that side of the field and the fact that it was away from it, it's a little hard to see exactly what happened. We have seen some movement and motion by the injured Cardinals, so that's a very good sign. So him lift his head and also move his right leg.
So 47-7. The halftime score was 41-0. So, like you say, 7-6. The third quarter was won by Hawthorne, but what a first half turned in by the Cardinals. Jamal Fleming had a touchdown. Crawford Wilkerson had 2 touchdowns rushing. Aaron Belton had 2 touchdowns rushing as well. So all the touchdowns were on the ground for the Cardinals, and that's what you'd expect from this wing T that's now experimenting with shotgun formation, trying to get some air, yards in the air through the shotgun.
Well, you got to diversify your offense, Lou, in terms of not just the number of players that you make a part of your offensive package, but also in terms of your play calling. And in this case, you're right. Everybody who plays the Cardinal knows that, hey, between Jamal Fleming and Crawford Wilkerson and Aaron Belton alone, you've got good runners. Now you're going to throw Damian Bell into the mix along with them, and people start to key on that. And of course, we know that last year they keyed on the Cougars, and not the Cougars, but the Cardinal a lot. I'm trying to see. I want to look and see what Bell's stats were last year. So Bell's doing great. Last year, Bell's official line was 2 carries for 4 yards.
I was going to say, I don't remember calling his name all that often when he did his game. And also, let's hope that Josh Everett is okay. That's the lineman that came off.
And that becomes one of your goals in a game like this, and we've said it before, said it many times, is that what you want to do is get out of here without getting any of your players injured, especially, either side of the ball you're on, but particularly when you're the winning team. The one thing that spoils a victory more than anything else is an injured player.
Oh, absolutely. So this was a 2nd down and 20 play. The Cardinals stop that. So now it's a big 3rd down and 20 play from about the 20-yard line. So Campos just trying to make this one respectable. Play after play. Look out as he is buried from underneath. The first Cardinal to hit him was number 52, George Teamer.
And then getting in on the play was 76, along with number 11. But first we'll tell you that 76, of course, is Marco Ramirez, one of the captains. And 11, Lou already told you, is Tariq Lewis.
And he will be playing Saturdays for sure somewhere. Some Big West schools are looking at him. No, I shouldn't say Big West. Mountain West schools are looking at him. And Division II schools. And you know what? A scholarship is a scholarship.
Scholarship's a scholarship. Free education is a free education. You can't beat that.
Absolutely. So back in punt formation is Noel Campos from his own goal line.
That's a good kick. A good
it's a
kick.
Beautiful
Lou.
kick. Nice catch, too, by Damian Bell. And Bell gets hit immediately, and a good coverage by Devontae Sims.
Excellent tackle by Devontae Sims in the open field. But the first thing was, it was a great kick from his end zone, drove it out to the 39-yard line. Now, they'll mark it from the line of scrimmage, but the true distance on that kick, Lou, was nearly 61 yards.
So back at quarterback for the Cardinals will be Desmond Hall, number 10. Or is he? No, that looks like Belton.
Yeah, still Belton under center.
Hall brought the play in. Now he drops the ball, picks it back up, and the busted
You got to
play.
bring him down. You got to bring. There you go.
Nicely done. And that was done by Hawthorne Cougars.
And that was Garrett Medina.
The funky
junior.
cold Medina.
6 foot, 205 pounds. Well, let me make sure I got that right. I believe I got it right. Medina, yeah, 6 foot, 205 pounds. I knew it was Garrett Medina. Just wanted to get his stat line correct because Mom and Dad are listening to Hawthorne Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, and it's like if you call my kid's name, get it right, please.
That's right. We'll get emails and phone calls about that one too. So a big loss of about 13 yards, and now Hall gets the ball.
And here's what I've seen, Lou. Now they've got,
or Bell, I should say. Bell
yeah,
gets the ball.
They've got some of their same players in there. I mean, Bell's a player. I mean, this isn't some guy they brought off the bench to give some garbage time to. But what I'm seeing the Cardinal defense do, they're tackling a lot better here in the second half than they did in the first half. I mean, they're getting to the point of attack. They're wrapping guys up. They're going low to take them off their feet. Just doing a number of good things that they didn't do in the first half.
Number 81, Kevin Ortega in the ball game, and number 14, he's not on my roster. Don't know if he's on yours, Rufus. Is split out for Aaron Belton. With 7:54 left to go and a 47-7 lead. Ball is caught by Wilkerson coming across the middle and is tackled by Sims, but not before it's close to a first down.
Looks like it may be a first down, but here's what I like. I still like the way that the Cougars are attacking and defending and making those tackles. I got a funny feeling that Coach Swain gave him one of those win one for the Gipper inspirational talks tonight, mixed in with a little Bobby Knight, perhaps.
Throwing a chair or two?
Right.
Wouldn't be a bit surprised, even though, I mean, if a guy is that nice on the outside, on the inside, there's something else going on in there.
Well, his players came out a little more inspired. I mean, you can certainly see it. And in all fairness, I mean, there hasn't been a lot of let up by the Cardinals, so this thing has been played pretty even Steven here in the second half. Granted, the Cardinals have the luxury of a 40-point cushion, a 41-point cushion when they started the quarter, but nonetheless, the Cougars have played, I think, very well here in the second half, and it's one of those type things that the final score won't reflect their second half effort.
Well, if this is indeed a first down, which it is, the Cardinals just overcame a 23-yard deficit to get that first down in 2 plays. So Damian Bell, or check that, Desmond Hall. I'll get those guys' names read.
This first game of the season for us as well.
That's right.
You know, it's like I heard somebody, I was watching a college game. It's like to say there's no preseason in college, so you tend to see in the first game a little more mix-ups and stuff like that until teams get it ironed out. Great tackle there by big number 50, Adrian Lopez for the Cardinals.
One of the captains on this Cougar team.
6'1", 230-pound senior.
Now Dante Batiste, who carried the ball for Lawndale, really had a terrific first half. Had a 20-yard gain and a 16-yard gain in his 5 carries, but really hasn't done a whole lot since. As Kevin Ortega brings in the call, brings in the play, and he will split out wide to the far side. And mystery man number 14 split out wide to the left, to the near side. Out of the shotgun, Damian Bell in the slot, in motion, and he gets the ball.
And once again, good tackle there by by another. Again, on that play in the first half, Bell and those guys, and that's what I talked about. The Cougars had to tighten up on the ends because they were turning the corner on them every time for 15, 20 yards of carry. And now you see when they get to the edge, the Cougar defense is there to make the stop.
So 2 new receivers in, Marcus Manigo and number 10, Desmond Hall, who will split out to the far side. Aaron Belton will go under center in the single wing formation, now out of the eye. Belton rolls out, gets chased down from behind, tosses it up for Wilkerson, and just in and out of the hands. But again, good defense, Rufus, on the play by the Cougar defender.
That looks like number 6 for the Cougars. Was that Chris Bailey?
Yep.
Chris Bailey is the free safety, sophomore, 6 foot, 155 pounds. And Chris just getting his hand up as he attempted to knock it away was enough to block the vision, okay, of the Cardinal receiver, which actually prevented, and you're right, that was a good defensive play because that prevented the touchdown just that instant when his vision was blocked.
That's right. So a good play on the defense, and this Cougar defense, like you've been saying all half, has been doing a terrific job. So it's 4th down and 5, and Cardinals are going to go for it. Belton under center, hands it off on the misdirection to Wilkerson, and let's watch him run. Has one man to beat, has a blocker in front of him, and waltzes into the end zone, following the block of number 8, Marquise Wellington for the touchdown. It's 53-7 in favor of Lawndale.
45-yard run on that particular play. The only breakdown here in the second half for the Cougar defense. And you can almost see that one coming on a 4th and 5. With a 47-7 lead, though, the Cardinals go for it rather than kick it away, and they score on the play.
Snap back, ball down. Alvarado's kick is up and good. So with 5:17 left to go in the ball game, it is 54-7 Lawndale over Hawthorne. And let's go down to Rashawn Haylock.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. They were over on the sideline looking at Josh Everett. He has a left foot. They don't know if it's a strain or a sprain, but they're icing and applying attention to him right now. You can just add him to the list of the walking wounded for Lawndale so far tonight. Both Jamal Fleming and Andrew Steiber out with concussions. Earlier in the game, Jared Ramsey left with a knee injury. And also remember in that first half, Nick Villafana left with a possible dislocation in that right foot. This big win could prove to be costly for the Cardinals, guys.
Now what I want to see, and I have it here, I want to see who's
Okay.
sorry.
Rufus?
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And I'll tell you why, because right after the kickoff.
Alvarado's kick goes through. It's picked up by Hawthorne in front of the 20-yard line, and the Cardinals fly in to make the tackle. As Pitts carried the ball again. And it'll be 1st and 10 right there from about the 24-yard line, 25-yard line, with 5:10 left to go.
5:10 left to go, and what I was going to say, Lou, is that last score by the Cardinal, that starts to get close to one of those salt in the wound type of scores, to be honest with you. I got to tell you, I thought they would have kicked that one away rather than going for it on 4th and 5. That's one that the folks over on the Hawthorne side will remember for a long time, and they'll wait for their opportunity on the field of play. And maybe not even in football, it could be in baseball, it could be in basketball or whatever, but they will wait for their opportunity to give a little payback, I think, to the Cardinal program for that last score.
No gain for Pitts on that play. So it'll be second down and 10 from the 25. 3 receivers in the pattern, 2 to the near side for Campos, who fakes the handoff. Going to throw it downfield, down the middle, and it is picked off by Lawndale. It's picked off by Hall, and Hall works his way down the far sideline, where it'll be turned over inside the 20-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Lawndale right there.
1st and 10 for the Cougars, and 4:14 left. I mean, obviously, in spite of my last comment, they still have to play football here, and sometimes nothing's considered, all right, how you doing? Nothing's considered more insulting to a team by the same token than just laying down and on them. So let's see how they play it here. First of all, let's see who they bring out and put under center. Belton's out there on the field.
Well, again, it's the first time, and there is no preseason, so you really need to see what your guys can do against guys that you haven't seen before.
Well, I think
if
if I've seen 54 points worth of Belton, I'd like to see what the guy who's playing behind him can do, because you never know when a guy's next play is his last play of the season.
Nice run by Brian Aguilar. Belton gave him the handoff as he sidestepped a tackler and gained a couple of yards, about a yard, 2 yards. It'll be 2nd and 8.
And it looks like now we do see Belton come off. He's coming over here to the side. Appears that going in the quarterback for the Cardinal right now is that going to be Marquise Wheelington, number 8, or number 10 is going to get under center? That's Desmond Hall.
So he'll be running the double wing formation. And look out, the ball gets dropped. Actually punched out of his hands. That was big old Victor Martin coming in and doing the...
Victor was trying to hold him back from getting, which is all legal. I mean, but, you know.
I thought Victor was going to just toss him out of the way to get the ball.
Right.
But it's a good thing that Desmond Hall was in front of him, or else they would have lost the ball to Victor. It's lucky he didn't lose his life.
Yep.
So a big loss of about 10 yards. So it'll be 3rd down and 18 for Lawndale. So big play by the big guy in the middle.
Absolutely.
Hall running the double wing formation again. Play fake. Hall picks it up and slips.
Loses his footing a little bit. Well, lost it enough that he went down. And of course, again, when you go down or when a knee touches, you are down officially.
So now it'll be 4th down and a whole bunch. 4th down at about 25 yards. And Alvarado will come on to make one of those field goal / punts.
Well, maybe this is what they were setting them up for. Now this one.
This will be a 49-yard attempt if he's going to really go for it.
Now that does bring into question.
He is going for it. It's high. It is long, and it is just short. And it's down there. Must have been in the back, past the end line.
Well, yeah, it was in the end zone. And you can't bring a ball out of the end zone. First of all, even if it could. But that does raise a question now, all of a sudden, that if you look back here, now, but I thought I saw them return the ball, that if you make it a field goal attempt,
Now, do you have to tell the official,
Right.
is it a punt or a field goal?
I don't know, but here's my question. Okay, on a field goal attempt, just like this one was more legitimate, you can't.
It's like a field goal attempt
Right, you can't
because
return it.
because the ball's down at the 20-yard line right now. It's not at the
Yeah.
line of scrimmage. So,
Well, yeah. Wow, I must admit, this is one that it's going to take a moment to sort this one out in their head. Because what I'm thinking here, when you try it up at midfield and you know that the ball is not going to reach the goal line, but if it's a field goal attempt, then it shouldn't be returnable.
Campos hands the ball off. And they are not giving up. Hawthorne is not giving up, that's for sure. Pitts carrying the ball. The big workhorse tonight for Hawthorne. Gains just a yard, and the clock is running with 25 seconds left to go in this ball game, and a 54-7 lead for the Cardinals.
Doesn't look like we'll see any more plays attempted tonight. And the Cardinals doing a whole lot of shuffling in and out with under 10 seconds left. And I should say the Cougars, rather.
And they're going to get this one off 3-2. Campos, so the last play of the game, and it is going to be a sack by Tariq Lewis to end the ball game and put the cherry on top of this one for the Cardinals in an opening 54-7 win over the crosstown rival Hawthorne Cougars. What a ball game put in by these Lawndale Cardinals, and especially their double wing formation attack with Jamal Fleming, Crawford Wilkerson, and Aaron Belton and company. And you got to wonder what happened to Fleming.
Yeah.
Was he injured? Because we didn't see him the whole second half.
Not at all, but I'm sure somewhere down there, Rashawn will get that bit of information for us. But as you say, as the teams prepare to meet at midfield on the 50-yard stripe and shake hands and exchange pleasantries.
And I want to thank both coaches, Mark Gomez of the home Cardinals and James Swain of the Cougars, for being so accommodating before the ball game. And we're going to be right back to wrap this one up from Lawndale High School on Channel 22 Sports. Lawndale Cardinals successful on their opening night, 54-7. Let's go down to Rashawn Haylock.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I'm with the victorious Coach Gomez. Way to open up the season, huh?
Yeah, again, it's a good start. I was telling the guys, even in the scrimmage last week, we need to set the tone for the entire season. So a great start for these first 2 weeks of scrimmage and game 1. So hopefully we'll continue the momentum throughout the season.
I know you guys put up a lot of points tonight, but since I've been covering you guys, the story has never been the defense. Tonight, your defense showed up and showed out. What do you think was the key tonight?
I think, again, part of it's the defensive scheme. We talked about that earlier in the day. I think a lot of it is just a different mind frame that I'm trying to instill on the defense. We instilled it on the offensive side of the football these past 2 years, but now the switch, to really focus on defense and having 11 hats on the ball all the time, 3s and outs all the time, just being relentless, play after play after play.
This win, we were saying a little bit earlier in the broadcast, could be a little bit costly. A lot of injuries tonight. I've never seen anything like this where the winning team, especially with a deficit of this margin, having so many injuries. By my count, 2 concussions, 2 foot injuries, and a knee as well. What was your take on that?
All those injuries are on key guys on our team. So yeah, again, like maybe too costly. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the doctors and the trainers, and try to assess at that point. But yeah, way too costly. That's my first concern. The win is obviously great, but my injuries to my guys, that really hurts.
Well, congratulations on the first win of the season. That's Coach Mark Gomez, Lawndale, setting the tone here tonight with a big win over their crosstown rivals, Hawthorne High School. Guys, the story was the defense, the defense, the defense. And like I was telling Coach just now, in the 3 years I've been here covering these guys, the defense has never been the story. But tonight they performed exceptionally well, guys.
All right, thanks a lot. Good job, Rashawn Haylock. And well, this win, 54-7. It may be very gaudy with the numbers and all of the touchdowns being spread around by the Cardinals and their bevy of running backs. But Rufus, I'll tell you what, we're going to find out how costly that is going to be because of all the injuries that were endured by the Cardinals tonight.
Absolutely, and that's what I said. That's the one thing that hurts a victory more than anything else is injuries. Of course, the Cardinals came into the game. Their slogan for this season is demand respect.
That's it.
I think they earned a little bit of respect tonight.
They're going to have to listen to what's going on around the Pioneer League, that's for sure, as the tough Pioneer League across the 405 and down the road a piece.
Right.
I'm sure they heard a lot from this game tonight, and they're going to have to listen to what Mark Gomez and company are going to bring into their houses this season.
I think they've got some good weapons. I mean, we saw it in Crawford Wilkerson and Bell and their other running back, and along with Belton, the quarterback. You know, I mean, they have, again, just as they did last year, they have another three-headed monster. Instead of it being 3 running backs this year, you got the 2 running backs and the good quarterback under center in Belton.
You know what? You also have Desmond Hall in there as well, and it was Adrian Bell. I can't even remember his name there. Yeah, Damian Bell as well, and a couple of receivers that we didn't even get to see tonight. So they do have quite a bit of weapons, and I'm sure that shotgun formation is going to be used a little bit more. But again, it's the injuries, and we'll see how badly Jamal Fleming was hurt tonight as the week moves on.
Exactly. I'm glad you mentioned Jamal, because that was the other back I was thinking of, along with Wilkerson and Fleming, and of course Belton, and as you mentioned, the other guys who are contributing. They've got an abundance of riches right now. You know,
and a kid with a good leg, and Alex Alvarado, who even punts on field goal. Wait a minute, was it punting on field goals or
exactly,
field goals?
A field goal punt, yeah, or whatever. But no, they did look good, and they executed well. And you know, let's talk about the Cougars for a moment. I mean, it's still a program that's in a losing spiral that they're trying to break out of. First half didn't go their way at all. Second half, they played well. Third quarter, they won score-wise 7-6. But I think more than anything else, they won perhaps the heart of their fans with their effort in the second half, because the Cardinals still played most of their starters, with the exception of Fleming. As we said, Belton was out there until the last 2 plays of the game, okay, along with Crawford Wilkerson. So, you know, I mean, this wasn't a cheap second half by any stretch. And I think my point in saying that is this, is that I thought the Cougars played well. And I said I saw them come out the locker room with a little fire and a little inspiration in them, and hopefully they can carry that over into the next game and get off to a better
start. And even
start.
Kevin Ortega played a good game tonight, too. Speaking of playing for a good game, let's go down to Rashawn Haylock. He has a guest. We can't go to Rashawn yet. Okay. Well, all right. I know Rashawn has a guest down there, and I would love to go to Rashawn. And as soon as we can get the camera switched, and
thanks a lot, guys. I'm here with Marcus Manigo, one of the stars on both sides. Even special teams, you got in there and got a hit late in the game. I know you're excited about that one.
Definitely, man. It was real exciting tonight. Yeah, we've been practicing the whole summer for this, waiting for Hawthorne. They talking all the mess, man. Just came out to prove ourselves. Got 9 more games to go. So yeah, gotta stay healthy.
And whenever people talk about Lawndale, they always talk about the wing. They talk about the wing attack. They talk about the offensive side, the ability to run the ball. Yeah. But the defense, tonight, defense was strong.
Oh, definitely, man. Our defense, man, that's been our downfall since I started playing varsity as a sophomore. And this year is the year for the defense, man. I told everybody that defense is going to run the team this year. So I keep everybody. And we had a couple injuries tonight. A couple key injuries, man. I lost my other inside backer, but we still going to stay strong and pray for him. But the defense, yeah, we staying up this year for real, man.
I was talking to Coach Gomez a little bit earlier on about all you seniors. Most of you guys are sophomores, and when he first took over here, and you guys are playing varsity, you guys are experienced. and you guys bought into the switch over from the 4-3 to the 3-4. Why has that been such an easy transition?
It's been because we're such a fast defense. We have a lot of speed on our defense. We don't have a lot of size on the line or in the back, but we have a lot of speed. So I switch over. We run a lot of stuff, man, out of that defense. So it's just a good switch. It really is for the best of us.
And next week you guys got Morningside.
Yeah, we're going to practice hard. Everybody got to stay healthy. Coming tomorrow, take ice baths and stuff. You know, I told you about the key injuries, but yeah, everybody got to stay healthy, man.
Hey, congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Good win tonight.
Thank
Marcus Manigo, one of the stars tonight. Morningside coming right here next week to take on these Cardinals in their stealth defense. Who'd have thunk it? Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Rashawn. And, well, yeah, the Cougars, I have a feeling that they may break that big old three-year-old goose egg this year, Rufus. So they can not look at the scoreboard, but take the second half and build on that, especially when the Cougars have to go on and their next game is against North Torrance next week. And that's not going to be an easy order there, but at least Coach Swain isn't ordering cupcakes for their Friday night dinner.
No, the Saxons won't be an easy test for them. If you look at the schedule, though, realistically, probably their best shot here in the first 4 weeks is going to be against Centennial that they play on October 2nd. That pretty much, for most of the season, may well turn the corner, because then they got Lusinger coming next week. The week after that on October 9th, that's got Tashawn Burton, touchdown Tony Sawyer, and another host of Olympians that are favored to make the playoffs this year and make some noise. So that's going to be a tough game. And then, of course, they get into league play and teams that know them and that they've competed against over the years. So they've got a couple of early chances. Let's see what happens. I mean, they know that we're pulling for them. I mean, I'd love nothing more, quite frankly. Like I said, I've talked to Coach Swain many a time, not only during football season, but in the off season when we're over at the Cougar Den for basketball games, because he's the athletic director. He's always in the gym. He's a great guy. I'd love nothing more than to see him, and he's put his heart and soul into trying to turn this program around, and I'd love to see it happen for him.
That's right, and well, it's also support your high school team there, your local high school team, because they're hurting right now financially, just like we all are. But if you have some change in your pocket, put it in the bin there, and just because they have to pay for their referees now, they have to pay for their own way to and from games now, and also equipment and everything else. And all the moms and dads out there do know how expensive just on that side of the raising a football player is. But now keeping them on the field has gotten a little more expensive too. Well, let's why don't we put a bow on this package and get out of here. But first, who is your player of the game?
Wow. Well, I mean, we got a number of choices. You got Bell, you got Wilkerson, even the quarterback. I'm not even sure, and Jamal Fleming. Without saying it. So, whew, it's any choice. I mean, you go ahead and name it.
Okay, I'm going to name the guy with the biggest heart, maybe not the biggest guy in stature. Crawford Wilkerson had 3 touchdowns, but then he made some big defensive plays, Rufus, in the second half to kind of put the cork in the Cougars' bottle as they were raising a little cane there in the second half.
I think Crawford's a great choice. You talk about being in a program, working your way up the depth chart, paying your dues. Last year, Carlton Callaway was the star of this program.
He was the man.
Although it was a 3-headed monster, but he was the star. Mm-hmm. And now, this year, you've got Crawford Wilkerson, who's been here 3 years in the program for 3 years plus, along with Jamal. So he's a great choice.
All right. So congratulations to the Cardinals and to Crawford Wilkerson, our Channel 22 sports player of the ball game, with 3 touchdowns and a whole bunch of yards in his back pocket in game 1. And we'll see him down the road. Well, what do you think, partner? Should we put it on there?
I think it's time.
Oops.
So you can see it right here.
All right. So for Rashawn Haylock, Rufus Washington, and Tom Strickfadden, and our director, Eric Chavez, and the terrific Channel 22 sports crew, I'm Lou Stowers saying the final score once again from Lawndale High School, the Cardinals 54 and the Hawthorne Cougars 7. Until next time, so long.